Hey, good morning. Welcome back to my YouTube channel today. What we're going to do now, we're going to have a cooking video. Show you through the process of how I make my authentic Italian style Neapolitan pizzas. The ingredients we use, obviously you want flour. So we've got flour, water, yeast and salt. So I only use 4 ingredients to make the pizza dough. The flour I use is the Caputo from Naples in Italy. It's 100% wheat. There is no preservatives, anything like that. Next we've got dry yeast. I've been using this low and whole foods instant dry yeast that you can buy at Coles locally here in Australia. Lukewarm tap water. And the flour. Now the flour is a very fine flour. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so that's the flour. So the first step we've done. So what I've done, I've written out a list here of the measurements. So I'm going to make 3 dough balls. Now each dough ball is around 260 grams. I use a gram scale. Everything is weighed, including the water. So I've got 470 grams of the Caputo flour in the bowl. I've got 296 grams of water. And I've got 14 grams of sea salt, rock salt. I like to use rock salt. And I've got a teaspoon of the dry yeast. So the first thing we want to do is we want to dissolve the salt in the water. So I'm just going to pour those 14 grams of salt in that water there. Grab a whisk. I'll just quickly grab a whisk. Welcome to my kitchen, by the way. And just going to quickly whisk that up. So this pizza we're making today, basically the ingredients, there's only going to be 3 ingredients that I'm going to use on the top. So we're going to use tomato base. Okay, so it's a fresh tomato eggplant base for the sauce. And then we're going to use the mozzarella. And then we're going to use some basil. Cooking this the day before, I'm actually going to cook it. So you want to let this rest for quite some time, depending on which of the Caputo flour you use. This particular flour, the Caputo Flour, you see here, is ideal for pizzas. There's another one that's called Pizzeria, which you can buy in a bigger bag, a 20 kilo bag. Now recently Caputo have started selling the Pizzeria bags in the 1 kilo and 5 kilo bags. So if you can get that one, it's ideal, but this Quaker is pretty similar. Now this flour likes to be rested in the fridge as well. So what you can do is you can make these dough up and then let it rest for, I don't know, minimum 8 hours till overnight. I usually let it overnight. And if I'm not making the pizza that following day, then when I cut the dough balls up, I'll then place them into the fridge. And then I'll remove them possibly 2-3 hours, depending on what the ambient temperature is, before you cook the pizzas. So that's pretty well dissolved now. So the next thing we're going to do now is I am going to add the yeast. I'm just going to add the yeast into the flour. So what we'll do now is just give that a bit of a mix. Now if you're wondering what you can hear in the background, that's my pet parrot. His name is Joey and he's trying to have a conversation with us, so hopefully he's not too distracting. So now we're just going to slowly add that water in, and as I'm adding that water in, I'm just going to mix that just gently around, adding a little bit more water. And once we've got all that water in there, we're going to knead the dough on the board. I generally use a larger board than this, but the board I've got, it's out the back. I just cleaned it. Okay, so add the rest of that in there. Now let's give that a mix. So this will be like probably a 2 or 3 part video. So today I'm going to show you how I make the dough. So it's pretty simple. Now that's mixed up. That's mixed up good enough now. So the next thing now is going to get our hands in there. Now I've already washed my hands before I started filming. So now the fun part starts. So basically now we'll do this basically until almost all the flour in the bowl is absorbed into the mixture. Now I'll take it out of it, just show you what I'm doing. So I'm kind of grabbing, turning it over and grabbing, but I'll show you the technique better once I've completed. So I'm just looking at the clock now, it's 20 to 12 here. So I generally do this for about 15 minutes. So what I might do shortly, now that's coming away from the bowl quite cleanly. Once it comes away from the bowl clean, I'll then get some extra flour. So you can see there, so that bowl is relatively clean. So we'll get a little bit extra flour we've got here. Sprinkle it on the board, like so. And now, we'll start kneading this dough. So again, like I said, I will knead this for approximately close to 10 to 15 minutes. So what we might do, I've got a phone here that's just Wi-Fi connected to my camera, and it's checking that you guys are still in frame and still in focus, so it looks pretty good. Just a bit more flour. So what we might do shortly is I'll speed this up, so you're watching this full time, so I'm pretty sure you don't want to sit there and watch me do this for 15 minutes. Now I normally get both hands into it, like so, but this board, just let me grab an old tea towel, see if this works. I'll put an old tea towel underneath here, see if it'll stop moving. There we go, that's better. So basically, I'm getting a dough, I'm pushing it, rolling it back, pushing it, rolling it back, and so on. And I'm using my body weight. That's starting to look pretty good there. I can give that another, that's probably only going for about 4 or 5 minutes, so I'll give that nearly another 10 minutes and that should be fine. And just sprinkle a bit more flour as you go along. You can do this one-handed, of course. But as you see, I'll just use my body weight into it, so I don't use the arms so much. That way you just don't get too tired. Just a technique I've learnt. I'll just do fast forward through here till it's close to being completed. Now this Caputo flour that I'm using, it's ideal high heat wood-fired pizza. So this pizza is going to be cooked in my little portable wood-fired oven out the back. I've got two of them. One that I normally take with me when I go camping, packs up into a bag, and the other one I've got actually I can use charcoal, like Gidgee charcoal. The Gidgee charcoal we can get out in central Queensland, just west. So it's a hardwood, and it's a very hard wood. They claim it's the hardest wood you can actually get. So some way they burn it. They heat and burn it in a kiln, and it just leaves the charcoal behind. And what you do with that charcoal, you heat it up, and it burns at a high heat and lasts for a long time. So I use some of that to get it going, but just that alone is not enough to get the heat up, because in the oven, generally it's about 500 degrees Celsius in the oven when it's by the time you're ready to cook the pizza. So once I got the heat beads going, I'll get a nice solid piece of hardwood, and I'll put the hardwood timber in the oven, and that'll get a nice flame going. So you've got this nice rolling flame that goes over the pizza. And it basically cooks the pizza in approximately a minute to a minute and a half. So it's that quick. Okay, so that's 10 minutes. So that's looking pretty good. That's not too bad. We're going to go just a bit more. So I sprinkled some flour in there. Now I'm just going to form this into a nice ball. So I'll place that in. So that's going to, if You can see that, yep. So that's going to rise. So what we need to do now is get some so we're going to get a couple of pieces of this. And another piece crosswise. Okay. And that's it. So I'll come back later and I'll show you how this rises. So thanks for watching. So welcome back. So right now it is 3 p.m, 3.5 hours. So you can see how the dough has risen in the past 3.5 hours. So now I'm going to let that go. That should be right overnight because it's coming on to winter. So if it was summer, what I would do right now is I would place that in the fridge and then take it out in the morning and then let it rest and then cut it up into the 3 equal sized pieces of dough. So what we'll do tonight is we're going to leave this like that, and then in the morning I'll cut them up into 3 equal doughs, and then I'm going to put them inside a sealed tub until it's time to cook. And tomorrow at lunchtime, Keith is coming over to have some pizzas for lunch. And we're going to cook up in the pizza oven out the back.